Hello friends, the first week of this course, that is Basic Certificate in Palliative Care, has been devoted to explain to you the essentials, the fundamental principles of palliative care. In the earlier lecture, Dr. Geeta Joshi already explained to you about what is palliative care, what is the importance of pain and symptom management. There are a couple of other factors also which I will stress upon, and in this particular lecture I will talk about community participation. Continuum of care has been already explained to you by Dr. Geeta Joshi. Earlier we people used to think that palliative care is basically meant for end of life. That myth has been already broken. As soon as the disease starts, something happens to your body, you can immediately start the palliative care. Earlier, in the first part of the sickness, you can have curative, and later on, when you generally reach to the end of life, can have the basic, what we call it, palliative care treatment for the end of life. Palliative care consists of total care. Total care means it touches your disease also, at the same time social, physical, psychological, spiritual and other aspects of your life. Dr. Geeta Joshi had given you the definition which was given to you by World Health Organization, but I want to explain to you because basically this course is meant for all. Starting from family member to the topmost doctor, this particular course can be done. So I want to explain to you what is palliative care in a layman's language. Palliative care basically means low tech but high touch. High touch means care. And when I say low tech means we do not believe in ICU and other modern hospitalization processes. It does not extend days into life but increases life into days. So whatever days you have, our aim is that you must enjoy those days instead of getting inside ICU and your relatives will not be able to meet you, will die alone. Second definition, social definition I want to give you, you will not be cured but you will die healed. That's we try and improve your quality of life. In palliative care, we do not aim at curing. If it happens, it's fine, it's miracle. But we never aim at curing your disease. But what we want to heal you. That is, we want to give you psychological relief, we want to give you social relief and all sort of things which will bring you peace of mind during your later days and days in your life. Third, death with dignity. We generally give you those things in palliative care, like we love you, we take lots of care, and these particular things heal you from inside. Your psychological grief can be relieved. Even in palliative care, death is not everything. We look after the family members of the deceased. We take part in bereavement and grieving process. So this is the social definition I want you to understand. It is low tech but high touch. Our aim is to extend life into days. Correction, we don't want to extend days into life, but we want to increase life into days. Second, we don't want to cure you, but we want to heal you. That means we want to improve your quality of life. And third, we want to make such provisions for you that you die with dignity. With these three social definitions, we go over to my lecture of community participation. We all know that united we stand and divided we fall. Community, the strength of community has been proven in our history also. During our freedom movement, it was Mahatma Gandhi who carried out mass movement, and because of his personality. He could manage the support of millions of Indians from all corners of our nation. And that is how our freedom struggle ended into the independence of our nation in 1947. That is the strength of community. And this particular strength we want to utilize in the affairs of palliative care. This lecture has basically got 4 parts. Part 1, community-based palliative care centers. Part 2, role of volunteers. 3, home care services. 4thly, caregivers. And lastly, about neighborhood network, which Dr. Geeta Joshi also spoke about. What is community-based palliative care is very simple. It has got its own explanation. Palliative care services which are run with community participation. Of course, certain medical support is being provided by others, but basically it is totally run by the community involved in that location. The involvement of people in a community to solve their own problems, very broad concept, needs assessment, planning, implementation, resource mobilization, attempt to actively involve as many key groups and individuals as possible. Why should you go for this community approach? We do not do this thing in other medical streams of our modern medicine. Why only in palliative care? I already explained to you certain definitions, social definitions, that if we want to improve the quality of life and we want that a patient has got life-limiting diseases and is not going to cure himself totally, so this is the time that he'll be generally supported by the family, and family is being supported by the community, and therefore we need community approach in palliative care. Patient needs continuous care and attention for the rest of their lives, need of regular social, psychological and spiritual support, in addition to the medical and nursing care, readily accessible and available as close to home as possible, integrated care, all diseases for all stages, enough social capital available to build a safety net in the community around these patients. Components of community-based palliative care. Of course, we have got medical component. It comes from the health centers, governmental health centers, PHC, CHC, etc. We have got nursing component. We have got sensitized community volunteers. We have got trained community volunteers. So basically, the main support at the local level comes from community volunteers and trained community volunteers. What are the benefits for patients as well as families? The total care, that is the physical, psychological, social, spiritual, total care is available to the patient at home. It is affordable because the patient is not going to be admitted into the hospital. He is going to remain at home. Less expenditure, less expenses, easy accessibility because it is within the local area only, maybe in a distance of few kilometers. Community, use of community is being taken place in this community-based palliative care centers. Community is a social capital. Community also gets benefited because by doing this social service, they improve their skills. It is rather a process of empowerment because all these volunteers and the leaders who are running such centers, they are being empowered through the administration of such centers. They become more confident, and as a result of which they become self-sufficient. I visited certain centers in Kerala which are self-sufficient. They generate enough donation from all around and they run their centers the way they wish to run. Now here comes the question, how do we define a community? What is a community? When we talk about community participation, so let us see what is the community first. Community is a group of interacting organisms sharing an environment and a common characteristics. What are the common characteristics? Intent, belief, resources, preferences, needs, risk, etc. And they got the common identity of the people and degree of cohesiveness, because they are cohesive because they generally remain, they are from the same locality. So when you have such characteristics of a group, that becomes a community, like a village community, like a social community. Community participation, people who can spare at least 2 hours per week. We are not asking for much, we are just asking for 2 hours per week to care for the sick in their locality, are enrolled to undergo volunteers training program. On successful completion of this training, these volunteers are encouraged to form groups of 10 to 15 and identify the problems of such people who require palliative care interventions. This group are to be supported by doctors and nurses in the local PC centers, palliative care centers. How do they generate the fund? They have small scale donations, they put some dabbas there in the local markets. This started in one of the palliative care center in Nilambar, Kerala, 1 rupee per day, a method for increasing participation, now a major source of income for many of the clinics. This is how you spread awareness about palliative care. Small donations, even people just go over to the bus stand with this donation boxes. Each bus entering Nilambar and area code bus stands contribute 2 rupees per day. After that we come to part 2, role of volunteers, because without volunteers a community based palliative care center cannot function. Volunteers, though not counselors, can be trained to listen compassionately to whatever the patient and members of the family may choose to share. Volunteers, we cannot call them counselors, but over a period of time they understand the nitty-gritties of palliative care, they try and learn the skills of good and effective communication skills, so they can perform the role of counselors. While they do not under any circumstances replace the professionals on the team. Who are the professionals on the home care team? We have got the doctors, we have got the nurses, we have got the counselors. These volunteers, even if they are trained, they cannot replace the role of a doctor. They do all volunteers' job and they provide basically the spade work for palliative care team to function at a higher level. In cases where a volunteer does not wish one-to-one contact with a patient or family member, he or she can perform practical tasks for patients and their families, including office duties and promotional work like fundraising. They provide an opportunity to the patient and the family to talk over issues that may be troubling them, offer practical advice and support to family members, as well as fill in for them whenever they ask for, get medical equipment, supplies and nutritional supplements for those with special needs, mobilize the local community to offer support in a variety of ways. One of the work is this: the volunteer himself is doing a particular role in palliative care unit, but at the same time he mobilizes the local support, he raises more volunteers to get into this particular way of life. They offer bereavement and counseling to grieving relatives. They provide emotional support. When they do that particular 15 days training program, and when they are undergoing hands-on training, when they do that, they generally know something little bit about basic nursing. So they provide basic nursing care to the sick people. They follow up of professional home care, whatever they tell them, whatever advice they give them, they just follow it up, linking up with the professional team, and they provide spiritual support. Sometimes they provide social support, they arrange food for the family, They provide educational support for the children. They can take the children to the nearby school, get them back, offer some help during the time of examination, helping with transport to hospital whenever they want to visit hospitals, linking with other support groups. This is basically to give them financial help, rehabilitation, and thereafter when the patient is no more, they can provide bereavement and grieving support to the family. They can do organizational and administrative services too. Earlier we spoke about social support, medical support, now about organizational and other support. Regular awareness program in the community so that they can raise new teams of volunteers from the same area. They can train the family members to look after the patient. They train the volunteers of the community, administrative management of that link center, and they carry out various tasks of fundraising. Third part is a home care. The objective of the palliative care we have been talking about, Dr. Gitaben, she spoke to you. I also said it is a total care. Our objective is to address the total pain of patients. Not only patients, but their caregivers, their family members, and thus improve the quality of life of the patient and their relatives. Though this particular thing can be done by providing home care. Here what is happening? Patients are not going to the hospital, but hospital, the professional staff is coming to home, and therefore it is called home care. What is home care? It's an option allowing older adults the choice to age at home. Let them age, let them get old with a specified level of care they need for safety, comfort and independence. Specified care. They cannot be given higher level of hospitalization or medical care what is available at hospital. Specific lower level of care can be provided. Simply described, home care means help with activities of daily living and household tasks. This is number one, because this is what is required. It includes meaningful companionship. You provide the company to these people. For older adults, in home care is the oldest form of health care. I mean, this is what we had been doing in our societies. Since ages, we had been helping our elderly people in our families. What we do in our own family is nothing but the home care. We are talking about a particular concept, but this concept which we know, we are practicing it, we just want to give it a systematic look and little bit of modern assistance, medical assistance, so that you can give a better quality of life to your elderly people at home with no external medical support. Home care is commonly presented as a service to assist aging seniors, and who doesn't have aging seniors? Everybody will have their parents or the grandparents, they are the aging people. Every time they cannot be put into the hospital. So if your family member or someone nearby, some friend has been trained to provide home care, nothing like it. It's a valuable resource when a person at any age has an injury, accident or surgery or is suffering from a chronic illness. Home care, it is for bedridden patients. It improves quality of life. How? Because home care can include help with daily activities such as bathing, dressing. Sometimes elderly people just can't go to the toilet, can't go to the bathroom. So this is the time a volunteer or a family member, caregiver can take him, give him a bath, dress up properly and brings back to the bed. Assistance with safely managing tasks around the house. Companionship, this is one of the most important point. When we get aged, you see, young kids, our sons and daughters, they are busy in their own life. And naturally, they have to go for some certain services and other things. They cannot provide so many hours to sit with you. When you get aged, what you require is the donation of time. Some people, they come to you, they talk to you, they sit with you for 1 hour or 2 hours. That is what the aged people, they require. We call it companionship. They come sit with you. This can be done by home care, by volunteers. Other therapy and rehabilitative services wherever required. Short or long-term nursing care for an illness, disease or disability, including tracheostomy, ventilator care and other things. This will go into details of all these things in weeks to come. Professional support service, this is another characteristic of home care, because home care includes any professional support. Professional caregivers such as nurses, aides and therapists provide short-term or long-term care in the home depending on a person's needs. How is care provided? Personal care and companionship doesn't need to be prescribed by a doctor. Such things they do not. They will never write in your prescription that this patient require a friend or a companion for 2 hours a day or 4 hours a day. This they will not write. This is our social adjustment. This is what we have to do. Family members have to provide companionship. Care provided on an ongoing basis on a schedule that meets a client's need up to 24 hours a day. You can hire a caregiver in big cities nowadays. Some of them they are trained, some of them they are not trained, but definitely they will stay with your elderly people for 24 hours a day. Type of home care, 2 types: home care by caregivers and home care by medical services. Home care by caregivers, that is, you hire a caregiver, they stay at your place and provide the services. And sometimes medical services, they visit your home and their medical team, home care team, which includes doctor, nurse, counselor, etc., they come to your home periodically, maybe once a week, maybe twice a week, depends on your sickness of the person. Very important part we come to it, caregivers. Everybody is a caregiver. I mean to say, we are grown up. How a child grows up, it is because of the care being given from his or her mother. If the mother does not tend to the child, a child will die. We are here, we are growing up, it is because of the care which has been provided by our mother, by our father, by our family members, and everybody, they are being included, they are being termed as caregivers. Simple as that. Whichever person gives you care, looks after you when you need it, he or she is called a caregiver. It started long time back. I mean to say, we had been doing it. We had been getting care from our parents, from our elders. Similarly, when we are capable of giving care to others, we really sincerely think, we wish, we yearn that yes, we will provide some sort of care to the people who really need it. And slowly caregiving creeps on you. When you start giving help to the society, to the people who need, you really love this thing and you just become a social worker, you just become a volunteer, you be the part and parcel of that community-based palliative care center. How it starts, sometimes you just go and help somebody and really it gives you so much of satisfaction in your heart, it gives you so much of peace of mind, you think that you have done God's work, and with that happiness you think, I must do it time and again, must do it as much as possible whenever the opportunity is being offered to me. Life, as you know, it stops and all, career, and you adjust to a new normal. Who is a caregiver? A caregiver, care or support worker, is a paid or unpaid member of a person's social network who helps them with activities of daily living. Since they have no specific professional training, they are often described as informal caregivers because they have not been given professional nursing training. Earlier also I said caregivers, there are two types. When the family members and the friends give the care to our elderly people, they do not charge because out of their love they give. They may be formal, informal, anything, but they do not charge for their services. They really respect you. They have lots of love, and therefore they come in the time during the time of your need. They want to support you. In big cities, certain caregivers, you can hire them. They are trained, they are formal caregivers who are trained, and informal. They are not being trained specifically for certain basic nursing duties. Who needs a care? Very important question. Who needs a care? A person may need care due to loss of health. I mean, when something happens, some accident takes place, I cannot go up or down, even I cannot visit the bathroom, cannot visit the toilet, I do need a care. Loss of memory, dementia, when I don't know what is happening around me, I just lost all the memories. So I need somebody's assistance to remind me, to help me to go from place A to place B. Even loss of memory includes that I do not know what I have eaten, whether I have taken a water or not. So that is the time the caregiver comes to your help. The onset of illness, when sickness starts, an incident or risk of falling, this is generally what happens with the elderly people, and mostly they fall in the bathroom because bathroom floor is very slippery. They break their bones, and once they break their bones, they become bedridden and they need a constant support from a caregiver. Anxiety or depression, grief or a disabling condition. There are certain things which come in the life, you don't know what to do, and that is the time that somebody comes, a caregiver, and help you out. Basic principles. What does a caregiver requires? This is important because without these qualities, one cannot be a good caretaker, cannot do the duties effectively. First and foremost is a good communicator. Second, caregiver must have the respect for the dignity of the person receiving care. Third, it is the duty of the caregiver to remain in contact with the primary health care centers, PHC or CHC or any other government hospitals located nearby. So, in case of emergency, this patient can be immediately shifted to their care. Another issue, caregiver, because working 24 hours a day, is responsible for managing hygiene and sanitation of that patient. And lastly, the caregivers manages organization of the person's agenda. 24 hours it is there, when to eat, what to eat, when to take a bath, all these things, personal agenda is being organized, being administered by the caregiver. If they don't have that capability, they can't do it. Constantly, that's come down to the qualities, must be empathetic, should be, if a caregiver just think about themselves, can't do anything for others. Great communicator, have a positive outlook of life, flexible, have a lot of patience. They should be resourceful, they should be find out meaning from anywhere. Caregivers should be strong because they are supposed to help the patient. The caregiver might have to lift the patient from the bed to the floor or from the chair to the bed, anything, So the caregiver got to be enough strong to support physically as well as mentally. Compassionate, उसके दिल के अंदर करुणा होनी चाहिए. Compassionate with the human beings and particularly for the patient whom she is providing care. Which is the best example of caregiving? Mother. And therefore, I am saying this particular course of 12 weeks basic certificate in palliative care should be done by each and every one, all family members, because this particular thing of palliative care has started with your mother and it will carry on till the end. Neighborhood network, who is the person who is going to come when you need the most, fastest, who can come? Your close relative, close friend, fastest I am saying when you need somebody to help you out. My dear friends, it is the relative, not the father, mother, it's your neighbor because you are just staying nearby, adjacent to your home. So love your neighbors. On that particular principle, even Jesus also said, love thy neighbor as thyself. On this principle of loving your neighbor, this neighborhood network has been founded. Neighborhood network is an attempt to develop a sustainable community-led service capable of offering comprehensive long-term care and palliative care. We are talking about long-term care. And when do we require long-term care? When a patient is suffering from life-limiting diseases, broken his legs, broken his hand, many things are there. In neighborhood network, volunteers from the local community are trained to identify problems of the chronically ill in their area, to intervene effectively with active support from a network of trained professionals. Essentially, NNPC, that is Neighborhood Network Palliative Care Centers, aim at empowering local communities to look after chronically ill and dying patients in the community. Same thing, they also basically aim at total care, physical, psychological, medical, spiritual. They provide continuous support to the sick people. It's an institutionalized care because proper modalities have been worked out how to function in the neighborhood network. There are many examples there. Let me tell you, our state of Kerala is first and foremost in matters of palliative care. It has gone to the ground level where so many community-based palliative care centers have come up. This neighborhood network idea was opened up way back about 25 years back in 2001, Malappuram district, Kerala, and thereafter it has been adopted, improved by so many people, by so many districts in Kerala. And now therefore in palliative care we term this, the whole palliative care concept which is being run, which is being organized in state of Kerala as Kerala model. We'll come into details later on. This is the community center Vasna, located in Ahmedabad. Dr. Geeta Joshi, now you already know her. She is the in charge of this, and this institution, this center was established way back in 1986. Again, this will be explained later on. They provide home care visits also. This is one of the home care van of Community Oncology Center Vasna. Dr. Geeta Joshi is the CEO of that center. Some of the photographs of Vasna. Basically, when we talk about community-based programs, we work on the principle of teamwork. And how do you explain the alphabets of team? TEAM. Together, each one achieves more. When they get united, they can work wonders, they can have bigger benefits. I started my lecture with those words: united we stand and divided we fall. This is the principle which is being applied to community-based palliative care centers also. Thank you.